I'm sure we all heard this word melody before. Everybody knows what melody is, right? What I'm trying to say is, if someone played that music when composed, or if someone played that music, say 100 years ago, and then you are now performing the music now, you still give us the same music. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So he has this way of protecting the music, keeping the music, making the music intact. But unlike those kinds of music that you just learn by, perhaps you heard some people singing, and then you heard them singing, and then you learned that way. I'm sure if you are going to sing it, one thing must be different. Do you understand? And then people that learn from you too, by the time they too perform it, something must be different. That's not the case of art music. Art music is intact. Intact. And that is why, I'm sure I must have said it to this class. When you have people perform art music, usually the audience, they know the music already. Do you understand? They are just coming to hear your rendition of the music. They are just coming to hear how much of truth you have to say as regards the music. How much of that music you have kept intact. You understand? How much or how well you are going to interpret that music. That's what they are here to listen to. When they have heard those music, I'm sure over 100 times. But then they just keep, that's their culture, the culture of trying to preserve this music, and that's the nature of art music, right? So art music is music possibly composed, usually on paper, by some persons that are educated, either formally or informally, in the Western music tradition of staff notation. You understand? I'm sure we understand.
Yes, sir.
So let's move to our business for today. Right, so music elements, or elements of music. So we'll pick them one after the other. And then I like to say Western Europe, America, and some part of South America. We here, our mode of documenting music or even music storage, it's not like the West. You understand? Of course, the West, they develop these five lines and four spaces. That's not what we have. What is usually at play in this part of the world is oral. We learn by rote, by memorizing, through oral dissemination. But, the art music has a character of freezing music. What I mean by freezing music is, if you pick a piece of music by, let's say Bach, which possibly has been composed some, 500 years ago. You pick that piece of music and then you try to play it, you try to perform it. It's very possible that
without any harmonic.
what's the opposite of original? So original might not mean quality. No. Original might not mean whether you're talking about from Japan. Original might mean origin. No, not origin. Can mean new. Original can mean attachment. I'm looking for a very convenient word. Is it composed for all melodies to be tuned? Is it not possible to also have a melody and then that melody is not in tune? Is it not possible? of course, a tune is say a song, so to say. You know, a tune usually, no, it's not a song. A tune is different from the song. But let's not go into that. Let's concentrate on our business, melody. So what's melody? You all have written definitions.
Melody can be described as a combination of tones and rhythms. There is either mostly hard or the first tone to be hard.
Tones and rhythm, okay, that ear catches, so to say. Kind of. Okay, let's sit down. Let's split it down and then look at what are the constituents, what makes up the melody. What are the things that come together and then you say, oh, this is a melody. What do we think it will be? Two. Of course, everybody knows pitch now. Highness or lowness of sound. And then sound itself. Sound itself. Now, what makes a sound? Of course, pitches, can be high, low, and all of those things. But then, what makes a particular pitch? What makes it musical? Like, okay, that sound I heard is a musical sound. What do you think makes it musical? I really don't want to waste time. Quality. What do you mean by quality?
If I just shout now, I don't call that sound musical. But if I play the piano because of the quality of the sound.
You have good examples, but our problem is that quality. How do you measure quality? That quality we are talking about, how do you measure it? Because, of course, if a piece of plate drops on the floor, okay, even if it's a broken plate, it drops on the floor, then it just crashes, breaks. And then as against the piano. So what's the difference in those sounds that makes one to be musical and then to be other to be non-musical? Eh? Is it the tone? What do you mean by movement? Listen to the question. I said, what makes a particular sound? So we are not looking at series of sounds now. Do you understand? We want to look at the elements that make up melody. Alright? So identify pitch, of course, pitch of sound. So we want to look at a strand of sound. So what makes that, of course, it is these different strands of sounds that come together to then form a melody. You understand? So each of those strands now, what makes one musical? As it possible for us to have another sound which is not musical. So what would be a factor that will distinguish between these sounds to say, okay, this is a musical sound, oh, it's not a musical sound. Yes, one is organized, the other one is not. But there's a word I'm looking for. Arrangement is another word for organized. The word is different. sound is loud or not does not determine whether it's musical. You understand? Volume is just a description of the sound. It doesn't give us the nature of it. Oh yeah.
So I think it is the tune.
The tune of the sound.
Yes, how the song come out, like how you hear it.
Well, in a way, but then it's not it. I prefer the organized, but then it's not the organized. Let's think. I'm done thinking for any student. Yeah?
Timba.
No, timber, just like she said, volume. Timber is just a quality that is describing the sound. Timber, if you hear the sound from the piano, it's different from the sound of a saxophone. So it's timber that tells us, oh, okay, this is the sound of the trumpet. Timber doesn't distinguish whether timber. For us to have timber, then the sound is already musical. You can't have timber for noise. It's not possible. Okay.
It's the dynamics.
Have we heard of this word? Have you heard of this word before? You have heard? I'm listening now.
Yes, sir.
Good. So what is frequency? That's the question I wanted to ask. But that guy really asked. So what's frequency? We've all heard about frequency. Do you know what I'm trying to teach you? I'm trying to teach you to be intellectually inquisitive. The truth is that we know lots of things. Everybody, all of us, including me, I'm guilty of what I'm saying. There are lots of things that we know. We just know them, but when you are called upon to, okay, tell us what it is. There are so many of them, so many. And you hear these words and then you just think, okay, let me go. Alright, so frequency. What's frequency? That a frequency. Wavelength. No, wavelength is another thing entirely. Wavelength is another different entirely. Frequency, we are listening. She's saying something, but she's not sure. Okay.
Frequency is the number of vibrations that occur when the sound is made.
There are so many faults with it. Okay, frequency. If you say vibration, I'm not confident with vibration, but it's possible you are correct. But me, I'm not confident with vibration. But if you say vibration, I think it's oscillation. Number of cycles, not vibration, it's oscillation. Number of cycles that the wave particle of the sound makes per unit of time, per second. So it is the frequency that lets us know that, oh, okay, this C here, the sound of C on the trumpet is different from D, it's different from E. It is the frequency that lets us know that, oh, D is different from the octave D. It is the frequency, number of oscillations that sound makes per unit time. And of course, the higher the frequency, the higher the pitch. Do you understand? Yes, because if you have a note, say for example, I think our middle C should be around 256. Because it's measured in hertz, yes. 256 hertz. And so this would be octave times 2 is 2. Is it 512? I hope I'm correct. So it is the frequency that tells us that this pitch is different from this pitch. It is the frequency. And so it is the same frequency that tells us that this sound is musical and then this other sound is not musical. So for us to have a musical sound, that sound must have some form of frequency. So if you have some piece of noise, like the example we gave, if you have a plate crashed on the floor, that will not have any quality of frequency because the sound is not organized. That's the word. For a piece of music, for a piece of sound to be musical, it has frequency. And then frequency is that character is the character that the sound exhibits of being organized. You understand? As against this unorganized sound. And then that's why some books will tell you that noise is unorganized sound. Do you understand?
Yes.
So, pitch now. So, from the knowledge of frequency, we will now see, okay, pitch, of course, highness or lowness of sounds, and then the variation in frequencies is what determines the pitch of sound. Okay, and then don't forget that I'm talking about melody. So I've dealt with the sound. So it's for us to have a melody, so we have these different pitches. You have this sound going like that. And so, for us to define it as a melody, or for us to have a melody, these sounds have to go in particular ranges or durations. You understand? So it's like a graph of plotting pitch or say frequency against duration. Duration to this hertz meter per second. So you have a musical sound just going like that, depending on the composer. So each of those pitches has some form of duration. So it is that duration that we measure in crotchets, semi-briefs, minutes, and whatever we have. That duration is measured in musical values, musical time values, as against pitches. So that's when you can have melody. So when you put all of these together, you have melody. So now, who help us define melody? I've defined it. I've given you all the tools you need to define melody. So in other words, what I'm saying is, who will help us put everything I've been saying, who will help us put it together? Or put them together. We talked about pitch. And then we saw the relationship between pitch and frequency. All of that now combining with duration. That's melody. And in Yoruba indigenous music, we'll find out that they have these similarities in the use of scales. Like there are certain scales that go well for Yoruba music. And then even Yoruba is broad. For example, the music of Oyo, or the scales as being used in the music of Oyo, is much more different from the music of this Ijesha people, or from the scale used in the music of Ijesha. You will still find out music used in the eastern part of the country, scales. So why do I keep saying music? The scales used in the eastern part of the country is different from the scale used in the northern part. You know, and then this is reflected in the music of these areas. When you listen to the music of these areas, you find variations in the melodies of these places. Of course, those melodies must have been built from the scale patterns that occur in these areas. Unfortunately, we don't have our speaker yet. I've downloaded all of this music for us to listen to. You know, and then we bring up discussions from them. Okay, what else again? Even the example I was giving, if you go among the Ijesha people, I try to look at their music and I try to analyze their music based on I've played a lot of Bach, I've played Handel, I've learned music theory. Mr. John has taught me Kwekwe harmony and all of those. You've learned, read, and then you take that knowledge to study or to analyze a song from that part of the world. You'll be making a great error. You know why? Because you'll not be interpreting that music as it is. You'll be interpreting it with a Western perspective. You know, so instead of saying, what you will be doing, you'll be criticism. You say, those people, they don't know music. They don't know music. But no, our jobs as musicologists is to study this music and then take what you have studied and show to the world where it is. Not showing our perception of that music to you. I don't know if you understand. And so that's it. There are lots of stuff we go to discuss today. Let's say the Western scale, the Western musical scale that we are used to, the diatonic scale, you know. You find out that not all cultures agree with that scale. Or you've not noticed. They're not okay. Look at this song. And it's synonymous with Ijesha. That song or songs that are related in that line. You know, when you play such songs, or when you sing or play such songs, and then of course we usually use it in our praise and worship in church. You know, okay. If you play, if you sing, you might not really get what I'm trying to say now. But if you play a musical instrument, I'm sure you understand. Now the point is that those songs, even when you sing them when you think you are singing them in particular keys, you are actually not in that key that you think you are in. If you look at the scale very well. Okay, it's possible that you are singing, maybe you go to church now. Give me one church now. Anyone, just anyone. All those places I worship sometimes. I say give us praise song.
This kind God.
This kind God. When you sing those songs, this kind God, and that's along the line, you know, you just move into what I'm saying now. You find out that you are not, when you look at it technically, you find out that you are outside the key constraints of the Western musical scale. Because this song, or because this Ijesha song, so to say, they have a unique scale. They have note choices that form their scale pattern, you know, which is different from the Western scale pattern. So when you sing these songs, you discover that you are not in the original key which you were coming from. Even if we try to interpret them in the Western scale system, but originally, you find out that you are hearing that. There are some cultures of, okay, raga music. Who has heard about raga music? Raga music, music of the Indians. If not, okay. What I'll try to do to help us, I'll try to send some music to the platform. I'll try to send some music to the platform. You know, when you listen to raga music, it has a scale system of 6 notes. You know, as again the Western 7 or 8 system as the case may be. And then you have some cultures that have 14 notes scale system. You know. And of course you have because I studied a great deal about Ogu music. Found out that their music is usually 5 tones. You know. And then in African music, we don't see scale with the perspective or with the eye of Oyinbos, so to say, or Westerners. In African music, we see music with the eye of the originals, of the respondents. What I'm trying to say is, if you're looking at scale in African music, this is just a digression. If you're looking at scale in African music, we look at scale based on the number of tones. You understand? But Westerners have a standard scale system. You know, so they have a standard pentatonic scale, and then they have standard diatonic scale. So if we say pentatonic scale in African music, pentatonic scale, of course, like we know, is not the regular pentatonic scale. It's just that the notes that form the music or the scale are 5 in number. So that's what Africans call pentatonic scale. So if Africans say, okay, you are playing hexatonic scale or tritonic scale, that means that the entire of that music have just 3 tones. When they say diatonic scale, so I don't confuse things. This is diatonic, like the Western scale system. So when you have diatonic, so this is the African concept of 2 tones. So that's basically about scale system across various cultures. So melodies of course are built from this scale system of different cultures. You understand? So each culture has a scale system from which it builds its melody. That's another way to look at melody. They have looked at melody from say a technological point of view, which is frequency, duration, and all of those. And then we are looking at melody from a cultural point of view. And then you find out that these things are different across cultures. Do you understand? Are you sure? You are sure? All right. Any question?
Yes, sir.
But you said you were sure. You are listening to your question.
Yes, sir. So what is diatonic?
The first one.
Yes, sir.
Diatonic is the Western scale system. It's called diatonic scale. It's called major scale. It's called Ionian mode. It's called, yes, a number of names. But put that in your brain because, and then when you say diatonic is a scale system that encompasses both the major and minor scale system. But the diatonic is a Western concept. Any other question? Any other question?
So I want to just recite an example to see if I really understand this thing. But, like the diatonic now you are saying, let's say you are singing a pentatonic scale, and the one I know, the western one that I know, is do re mi sol la. Though that's a pentatonic. But when you say pentatonic in African sense, it might just be 5 notes. Doesn't it can be something like do re mi fa sol? It's not like their own.
Yes, can mean anything. In as much as there are 5 tones in those music, it is pentatonic scale. But when you take that 5 tones, if you try to look at those 5 tones with a westernized eye, you'll be making an error. Don't worry. Don't worry. Even if you don't understand, don't worry. Yes, you know why? By the time this first flow or movement is usually informed by what we call beats. Beats. Let's say, for example, these movements themselves, of course, like I was talking about the duration of sound. You know, our notes, so to say, our musical sound are usually divided according to the Western system of sound duration, like MIDI, crochet, and all of those things. Having established that, I'm sure everybody knows those. You know, semi-brief, semi-quiver. You are used to those words. Okay. So now move to beats. Let me move for a rhyme. Okay. Does everybody know Yankee Doodle? Huh? And then you find out that usually the beats fall on the beat, strong beats. Or before we get to that. Now what I'm trying to do is that we have to I'm trying to establish the beats of the music. Or you can see those beats as usually as say kick in a drum set pattern. You have boom, 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 boom like that, playing. And then these two can be organized into measures. Measures. Say measures of 2 beats. 2 beats, 1, 2 for each measure. Do you understand? These are beats now. These are beats 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 like that. And different from the melody. You understand? So for this, we are trying to create a pattern of say 2 crochet beats per bar. And then that informs us of Meter. Have you heard this word before? Meter. Meter. You've not heard of meter too? You have heard? Okay, tell us what is meter. That is, or not measurement in itself, but it's just a, let's say, quasi measurement or so those are the strong beats. Do you know what I'm saying? Green sleeves. You don't know green sleeves? You don't know the music? Music, beat, weak, strong, weak. But then this is the strongest. So beats 1 and 3 are strong. 1, 2, and 4. Alright, so syncopation. I'm sure everybody knows what syncopation is. You don't know what syncopation is. So you don't syncopate in your church. Alright, and syncopation really, basically, syncopation is the shifting of the accented position in a piece of music. You know, of course, we established that this is the strong beat, strong beat, strong beat, strong beat. And then when these strong beats, instead of having accents, instead of having your accent on these strong beats, we then shift from the either the strong onto anything outside the strong. That's syncopation.